Okay, well, delighted to be here. As I say, I'm Mary Berrill. I represent Education Scotland, and I certainly represent a lot of work, time and resource that Education Scotland has put in to this incredibly important area of work. Okay, we'll just... See, I've stuck already, Fran. This is Fran, she does everything. We actually practiced that she came on as a double act just to... In 2014, I remember, and I was involved just at the end in terms of the publication of this very iconic document. Let's be quite clear. This document, which I actually dragged out, still had it safely stored, has one ultimate purpose, and that's to improve the quality of experience and outcome for those learners that we all have in our schools and educational establishments with dyslexia. And you do that through ensuring schools meet their statutory duties, improved guidance, improved training, better understanding of data and what the data is telling you. But the ultimate purpose is to improve the experience and outcome, and we must never lose sight of that. As you well know, the Making Sense had 5 recommendations, and these recommendations had a number of subsets, and work streams were formed to take forward those, and there has been an active theme of work since 2014, and the work has truly been collaborative in terms of partnerships. I've been in this business for a long time, but I certainly feel the quality of partnerships within dyslexia has certainly been among the strongest I have seen in my professional life. But dyslexia does not sit alone. It is not a ship in its own sea. It sits on top of a bedrock of inclusion, inclusive practice. And I think this slide here captures very well what inclusion means within the Scottish context. I do a lot of work abroad. I'm just back from working with the Greek government. And I have to say, when I put this slide, and I do use this slide, people are genuinely very impressed by the depth of our understanding of inclusion. Dyslexia sits, on top of this, the framework is underpinning, but very much more importantly, the work of this programme contributes also to the development of inclusive ethos and culture. And it was interesting when I looked to see what I'd highlighted in 2014 before all of this, it still struck me as one of the most important sentences is, the way forward lies within inclusive school environments and training for teachers. And I still feel that, and when I look at this slide in many ways, I feel that that is summed up by that simple, albeit very complex sentence. Let's talk a little bit more about the outcomes. Well, certainly it was agreed that we needed to develop high quality guidance and information. And I took a few minutes this morning to go over to where the different stalls are set up. And I have to say that I was extremely impressed by the quality of a lot of the guidance there, particularly around the guidance Dyslexia Scotland produced. And I picked up several pieces of paper which I certainly will use, well written, clear, concise, helpful, straight to the point. So I certainly recommend, but as well as the leaflets, dyslexia, needs more than leaflets. We totally understand that. There's a wide range now of professional learning resources. We understand online is a very important aspect. It's accessible to us all. We can use it in our own time. We understand the digital world. And there's a range of very high quality online resources, which you'll hear more about from Fran. These are hosted on the Open University Learning Hub. And my understanding is that some of these modules are the most popular modules that the OU does. And this is dyslexia. And I think that shows the quality of the resource and how helpful it is. And the OU hub, remember, it's outward facing to the whole world, not just to Scotland. But we also know inclusion is always the sum of the parts. We also know that support to schools is very important, because online is very useful, but you also need the face-to-face, you need the collaborative work, you need to be able to speak to others. All that has been part of the making sense work. And again, you will hear more about the modules and resources, so you all understand how to access them later. But the Addressing Dyslexia Toolkit. What is so helpful for all of us is to have a one-stop shop in terms of where we can go to find out. For example, we might not want to do a module, but we certainly want to click and find out, how do we identify, how do we support, how do we understand dyslexia and the depths of it? How do I find out what resources are working well, etc. The 1,001 questions that we all have in any, academic term or year that we face. The Addressing Dyslexia Toolkit, when I first looked at it in 2014, I could see that it, although extremely useful, I could see, like all online resources, needed to be streamlined, needed to be strengthened in bits and to be changed. This is an extremely helpful resource. They have put many years of dedicated work into it now, and it is sleek, it's helpful, its usability is high, and it is there for practitioners, for Scottish practitioners, and I do recommend it to you. I'm also an inspector of education, and I'll always ask, well, yes, we're putting these resources in, we're putting a lot of time and effort. The eternal question has to be, what difference does it make? Or as inspectors would say, the so what question. So what? Is there evidence in the system that the work that has been going on since 2014 is having an impact? Well, yes, clearly, identification of dyslexia and recording by schools, they're not necessarily the same thing, because often, as we well know, we're supporting many learners with dyslexic type difficulties that may not be recorded. And we have to record them, because by recording it, then nationally we understand patterns of change and time. As you can see there, that there's been a 27% increase in the primary school and a very impressive 40% increase over from 2014 to 2018. And these are hard-fought figures, because that comes from helping people to understand dyslexia in a much deeper way. It also means that it's entered, that identifying and recording is much more of a system and process in school, that it's working better, that people understand that dyslexia is not something that will go away with, a literacy scheme. It is a recognisable additional support need. Full stop. But of course, how do we move forward? All programmes have to be dynamic. They can't have a stop and a start. They have to evolve over time. They have to move as the national priorities move. We know that one of the sort of key national priorities at the moment is about collaborative working. We're much more powerful working together. Gone are the days where you'd go into your classroom and pull up the drawbridge and that would be you. We work together better. We share better. We learn from each other better. And we have to do more of that. Empowerment is the other very important national priority, which is very much saying to teachers, do what you know will work for the children and young people in front of you. Use your professional knowledge, your skills, your expertise. Be empowered to do what you know that works. And all of this has been included and incorporated into the work of this programme. And certainly have been exploring sort of collaborative inquiry and different models of working to improve how we work together to make a difference to the lives of Scotland's children. But we also have to put expectations on others, because there is always a danger with any project and programme that people are extremely busy and producing, but there also has to be an expectation on those people that we support that they will also use the resources. And on inspection, certainly, one of the most common questions inspectors will use when visiting different departments is, are you aware, are you using the Addressing Dyslexia Toolkit? And I'm certainly aware from my own experience that there has been a marked increase in that. That's my own personal experience, but I'm certainly in and around, or was previously, support for learning departments on a weekly basis. So people were much more aware. That wasn't the same in 2014. So I've certainly, and I'm sure my colleagues will have as well. We also have to make sure that local authorities and schools are using the resources, which is using the modules as well. I certainly would have a vision that all newly qualified teachers undertake a module as part of their training, because it's so important. If you know how to support and improve the quality of learning for dyslexia, for children with dyslexia, you can deal with almost any aspect of additional support needs, because at heart, helping children to be able to access literacy is fundamentally a very important aspiration for all teachers. Thank you. It's only 10 minutes. I would like to say just a thank, and I will say it right now, is the work that Fran Rinaldi has done, a name that will be well known to you within Education Scotland. She has been a wonderful champion for this cause, and I'm delighted to have worked with her. Thank you.